One way to take back the night is to speak out, share your story, create awareness about the scourge against humanity, this pandemic that is impacting women and girls, as well as boys and men. We can talk, use your voice. We can also write down our stories, write a book, write an article, get it published. Write to the media, write to your political leaders, get people not only aware, but get them to take action to make a difference. Another way is to march, join a Take Back the Night march. Go out there, show the world how angry we are, create awareness and encourage people to do something, to join in and to take action. A further way is to do something concrete, something that will make a change to the way we behave, the way we treat each other, something that is more positive. Let's stop the scourge altogether. Hi, I am Lois, and I am your friend for forgiveness from Walking Without Skin. And I have done all of those things that I have mentioned. So let me share very briefly my story with you. Many years ago now, I was working late one night, one beautiful summer's evening. I was sitting in the courtyard of my little printing business behind what I thought was a secure 8-foot wall. Well, it wasn't secure. The first that I was aware that there was an intruder on the premises is when he had his hand around my throat and a screwdriver in my neck. Well, my first reaction was to scream, and then the fight, flight, or freeze syndrome set in. I looked at him. I thought he's smaller than me. I can overpower him. And so I fought. I fought with everything I had, but I didn't know how to fight. That is something else we can do. We can learn how to defend ourselves. But should we? Why should we have to defend ourselves? Let's stop this happening in the first place. Well, he really fought. He stabbed me numerous times. I hurt him back. I did grab the screwdriver at one point and I stabbed him back. But he grabbed a glass off the table, he smashed it, and he came at me into my stomach and into my chest. And I thought, he's going to kill me. And so I stopped fighting. He raped me. He tied me up. I was bleeding profusely, and he left me there to die. Well, I didn't die. I'm here to tell the story. And I encourage you to share your story as well. But this was way back in the day before the Me Too movement. The Take Back the Night movement was around, but it wasn't very big, not in my country anyway. And I was angry. Obviously, I was angry. But it was more than that because the word rape was never discussed in polite circles. It was something that happened out there. Did it happen? It didn't happen to anybody we knew. It was something out in the far distance. And so that it happened to me was just absurd. And so I was really, really angry. And I immediately became an activist. I wanted to change the world. I, I lobbied, I petitioned, I joined a Take Back the Night march. I really needed to make a difference. I was interviewed on the radio and television. I was so angry. I wanted to change the world. It was at a time when South Africa was moving from apartheid into democracy, and the rapist, he was apprehended. He was out on bail for rape. And so I wanted to change the law, and they were calling for submissions for a new constitution. So I was going to submit as much as I could to make a change. And so that is what I did. I lobbied for months and petitioned and worked at making a difference. And there were some small minor changes to the law at that time. So when I look back and I examine my progress of healing, my journey of healing, The first thing that happens after you face an adversity is you become a victim. And a victim is where you have the hatred, the guilt, the blame, the anger, the fear, all those negative emotions. And there are dozens of these emotions. And you're a victim. And it's important that when you're a victim, that you acknowledge, experience, and understand those emotions, deal with those emotions. If you push them away and ignore them, they do come back and trigger you later on in your life, as they did with me, because I didn't deal with those emotions. I became this activist and I just thought I'm strong and brave, and I went out to change the world. It came back in a bad way 2 years later. So once you've dealt with the emotions, you then start making meaning of what happened. You start examining the situation. You start dealing with with the fallout of what happened. And you need courage and creativity and resilience in order to do that. And you become a survivor. So I jumped straight into survivor. And survivor is still a struggle because you're still trying to get some kind of meaning back into your life, trying to get a worthwhile life again. And it is a struggle. And and then you develop grit. And grit is when you find focus, you find new passions, you find a new goal, new direction, and you forge forward with that passion and that perseverance and that persistence. And then you become a thriver. And this journey is not a linear journey. It's not A to Z. You fall back, you go back and up and down, and things trigger you, and you start again. And everybody's journey is different, but it's important to know that you are not alone. There are so many people out there who can help you, support you, from friends and family to therapists to alternative healers. There is so much guidance and support out there. So when you're in Thriver mode, you develop a post-traumatic growth mindset. You start realizing that this has served you in some way. You start making meaning of it. You become what have you figure out what you've learned from this, how you've changed, where has this led you. And some of us develop a benefit mindset where we say, okay, I've had this experience, how can I help other people go through the same journey of healing? And then you may or may not do what I did, and that is forgiveness. But it is important that you forgive yourself first. Forgive yourself for, I had to forgive myself for working late that night. I had to forgive myself for not knowing how to fight. I started drinking quite heavily afterwards, and I had to forgive myself for that behavior. And then also, I was filled with hatred, and hatred doesn't serve anybody, it only harms you. And so I had to forgive myself for having those negative emotions, plus many other things. And forgiveness, really, when you forgive yourself, it certainly makes you a healthier, better, calmer, more reasonable human being. And then to consider forgiving the perpetrator. Uh, you cannot forgive when you're in victim or survivor mode. When you're in thriver mode, you can start considering forgiveness. So for me, I went to the prison. The rapist had been given a 25-year prison sentence, and he had been in prison about 14 years when I decided to go to the prison and to forgive him. And what I did was I compassionately and completely forgave him from my higher self to his higher self. And I took back my power and I took back my freedom. And it was the most rewarding thing I've ever done, in that it truly, truly set me free. So when you understand that forgiveness is not about condoning what the person did, forgiveness is about setting yourself free. When you are in unforgiveness mode, you are bonded, you are tied to that situation or to that person, and you are the one who's carrying the angst and the pain and all the physical and emotional trauma. You are carrying it. But when you forgive, you are just untying that bond. You are setting yourself free from that situation. I, the authorities at the prison told me they would let me know in 7 days if the prisoner got parole or not. And I just said, no, I didn't need to know because I was now so completely free of him that whether he got parole or not was of no concern to me. I had set myself free. And I didn't walk out of that prison. I flew out of that prison. So forgiveness is very powerful. So sharing your story, moving through the journey of healing is so powerful. I then used the experience to help other people overcome their trauma, help them through their journeys of healing. And then one day I just thought, why are we helping people recover? We should stop it happening in the first place. Let's stop this happening. And so I came up with the BRAVE concept. And what I want to do is to change the way we behave. Stop this toxic masculinity. Let's eradicate sexual and gender based violence. Let's eradicate harassment and bullying. And let's do that by teaching people to be brave, that letting boys and men know that strength is not in violence, it is being brave. And so I've created the acronym using BRAVE. The B is for boundaries. First of all, you need to know what your own boundaries are, and then you need to understand the boundaries of your partner, your family members, and the people in your immediate circle. Understand those boundaries and then respect those boundaries. You also need balance in your life. You know, girls can climb trees and boys are allowed to cry. So get that yin and that yang, have the male and the feminine in you. It is also about bystander. Bystanders who just sit and watch something happen. They watch their friends send bad texts. They see somebody bullying and they don't do anything about it. Now, it's not always easy to intervene, but you can do something. You can call somebody, you can create a distraction. Don't be a bystander. Do something. There was a situation in Cape Town one morning where on the streets was painted in big red letters. Words were painted. I saw what happened last night. I'm sorry I didn't do anything to help. And there was a bunch of red roses. So whoever that bystander was, he saw something. We'll never know what it was. But that person is walking around with guilt and shame for not doing something. Don't be a bystander. The R is about respect. It's about respecting your boundaries and respecting the boundaries of the others, people around you. Respect. It's having that resilience to figure it out and to find that courage to go forward. You can also be a role model if you and to find role models to show people what it is like to be brave and strong, and take responsibility for your own actions, for your own beliefs, for your own boundaries. Take responsibility. The A is for agreement. Ask. Agreement is not people saying yes. It's not people saying no. It's people saying an enthusiastic yes. So make sure that the people like what you are doing. If you're crossing their boundaries, ask them, what is the boundary? How do you feel about it? Where do you want to go with this? Talk about it. Be authentic. Be your true self. And be alert. Be aware when you see somebody maybe with a black eye, or you see somebody cowering in a corner. Be alert to what is happening, that things are not good, and do something about it. The V is for values. Know what your own values are, know what the values of your partner and your friends are, and then honor and respect those values. And share your feelings, your boundaries, your values, share them vulnerably. So important that you can be open and honest and reveal what you are feeling. And be verbal, have a voice, communicate, share, talk about it, write about it. be there. And the E is equality, treat everybody with the same respect, the same courtesy, have empathy, understand what people are going through, that it's not easy, and empower yourself and empower those around you to not be a bystander, to make a difference. And you can support people. You don't, if you've not experienced something yourself, a support system is so important. Be there for others, support them through the process, help them be brave. Because if we can make a brave world, we definitely can make inroads to stop the 1 in 3 women and the 1 in 6 men that are abused, bullied, harassed, and treated badly in the world. Let's make a difference. Let us take back the night. So I invite you to be bold, to be brave, and to fly free.